Evening one and all. We'll be starting sessions in a minute. Request everyone, those who are willing to make presentations, to kindly share your details in the chat box so that we can invite you at appropriate time. Evening one and all. We welcome you all to the International Conference on Global Parents, Bicycle, Fishing, Environment, Food Safety, Nutrition, Oceans, Biodiversity, Ecosystems, Awareness, Education, Health, Well-being, and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2050 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns. And we are also commemorating Global Day of Parents, World Bicycle Day, International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression, World Environment Day, International Day for the fight against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, Russian Language Day, World Food Safety Day, and World Ocean Day, and many other international, national commemorations and celebrations as part of this conference on respective dates. So before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are on the first day of International Conference, which is being conducted for the entire week, starting from today till, that is 1st June, till 9th June, that is Sunday of this month. So every day we'll be having sessions from 6 p.m. onwards. So initially we will start the registration at 6 o'clock. Then slowly we'll, after giving some time for registration for the participants, we'll be starting our sessions every day. As part of the conference, we are inviting various presentations by the eminent speakers and also from presenters and participants on various topics like global parents, parenting, child rearing practices, value education, moral education, morals, ethics, healthy food habits, sustainable food habits, healthy and sustainable lifestyles, alternative energy sources like bicycle, green energy, clean energy, renewable energies, and also regarding fishing, especially illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and its impact on environment and ecosystems, and also on languages and communications, as we are commemorating World Environment Day and we are facing a severe crisis of climate change, global greenhouse gas emissions, and a lot of issues. Language and communication plays an important role in conveying the message to reach the masses or to the target audience in their respective languages, in the way they can understand. And also on environment, on occasion of World Environment Day, we are on occasion of Environment Week, World Environment Week, we are also inviting sessions and presentations related to environment. And this week, we are also commemorating World Food Safety Day and World Food Safety Week. As part of that, various healthy and hygienic food practices, health and nutrition, food safety measures, laws and acts related to it, rules and regulations, and food security, and also various authorities at state, central level related to food, like FSSAI in India and FDA in US, and many other acts, rules and regulations and authorities will be looking at. And also, we are also commemorating World Oceans Day. As part of that, we'll also look at oceans and how they are saving the planet, as the majority of the area, that is 2/3 of the area are covered by oceans. And due to impact of human activities, we have already polluted half of the oceans with lot of pollutants, and that is impacting the climate change and human beings, and not only just human beings, but living beings and non-living beings on the planet. And we are looking at various biodiversity, ecosystems, and pollution, and wetlands, and related topics and themes. And the presentations can be based on awareness, research, and also various campaign measures to protect, promote, and conservation efforts and education initiatives or strategies related to environment, overall health and well-being, and sustainable development goals, and any relevant topics which are related to above themes and topics. So we are inviting, it's a wonderful opportunity for each one of you to share this information with the like-minded for making their presentations, and you are also invited to put efforts in bringing up various research topics related to this themes and topics. So the procedure would be, first the participants or the presenters would be registering for the conference through the Google form registration link, which has been shared in the social media, WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and also on official website, by filling and submitting the registration form with valid details, complete details, and correct details. You will be eligible for the participation and presentation as well as the e-certificate. Once you submit your registration form, you will be receiving a copy of registration form in your email. Kindly check your email in your inbox, or if you can't see them in a minute or a couple of minutes, you can check it in spam mail, bulk mail, or any another folders in your email. Otherwise, ensure that you have filled the correct email address and you are checking the correct email. Sometimes it happens that if you enter wrong email address, you will not be able to receive the form. Because when we are sending communication, we see that some email IDs are bouncing, which are invalid. Sometimes be careful. Most of the times it happens as in typological errors, where typing mistakes, or sometimes when you are typing, the key may be pressed or may not be pressed appropriately. So you might miss some characters or you might insert an additional characters. Kindly cross-check email IDs to ensure that you receive communication. So once you receive the form, that itself is an acknowledgement of your registration. And you can also see and check all the details of your registration, ensure that all details are appropriate, correct, valid, complete, so that you can go ahead with participation and presentation. Additionally, for presentation, for participation, you will be having the details of joining link and also the details of website from where you can get all the details, and after the conference from where you can download your certificates. The certificates will not be sent to your email ID. You have to visit the website and download it from website. However, the website link will be shared to your email address from where you can download your certificates. So already when you have registered, you are receiving an acknowledgement of a copy of registration form that itself contains all the details, the joining link, the registration form link, and also the e-certificate link. And along with that, you will have the presentation guidelines and the e-certificate request. If at any phase, if you think or if you have missed any formalities or by mistake or human error, if you have committed some error in the entire process, you can use the other methods to seek the support required. So the procedure, as mentioned, you need to fill the registration form only once for the participation and presentation. If you have multiple presentations, you can use the same form multiple times to fill up for each presentation. And for participation, you only need to fill it once. And in the same form, you can opt for both participation as well as presentation. And we'll also be having an environment quiz in this conference. So we'll be sharing in a couple of days or maybe in 1 or 2 days based on the feasibility of time. So you can also fill the quiz and submit it so that you can receive an additional environment quiz participation certificate. So total you can receive by the virtue of participation, presentation in the conference and quiz participation. You are eligible to receive, based on your eligibility criteria, 3 certificates. Provided you register and you participate and provide feedback so that system can automatically generate certificates and you can download your certificate from the website. And all these steps have to be completed in time so that whenever the system automatically generates certificates, system has all the details and certificates are generated in time in the first attempt itself. For those who are completing late or after the generation of certificates or beyond the 24 hours time limit, their certificates will be processed at a later time whenever feasibility is there. So whenever, as per the routine generation, so whenever there is a schedule, according to that schedule will be generated. So we request those who need certificates to strictly follow the timelines, register and participate. And when you are joining with Zoom platform, ensure that you are using the same name as you have registered in the registration form. That will help the system to automatically map your attendance and issue certificates accordingly. Because registration, attendance, participation, and feedback is mandatory. So Google form, you have to fill it once, both the registration and feedback form. Registration form before joining the conference and feedback form after the conference. It will be updated. It will be shared in the last session of the conference, or it will be updated on the website and also will be sent to your email within 24 hours of closure of conference. So within 24 hours of receiving link, you have to submit the feedback form so that the certificates can be generated. So it is mandatory you register through Google form and provide feedback form once as a participant. Once is enough. But if you are a presenter having multiple presentations, then you need to register and provide feedback based on the number of presentations. So if you have multiple presentations, you can give for each presentation registration form as well as feedback form. And those who want both presentation and participation, presenters who need participation certificate need to follow all the formalities as a presenter, as a participant, then you will be getting both participation and presentation certificate. So presentation certificate will be given for all the eligible presenters. Participation certificate, which is a different certificate, both are not same. Participation certificate are given to all eligible participants on a daily basis. So every day, for each day, participation certificate will be generated. So once you have to fill the Google registration form and Google feedback form before and after the conference, and daily Zoom, in the Zoom platform, there will be a registration form and feedback form. Registration form will be shared once we start the conference on each day, and feedback form will be shared in the last session before conclusion. So every day, that is for daily attendance. So every day you need to fill, no need to fill Google form daily. That is to be filled only once for both registration and feedback. But in Zoom platform, to be eligible for day-to-day certificates, you need to fill every day the registration form and feedback form so that you will be eligible for the participation certificates. So kindly stay till the feedback form is shared and submit so that you are eligible for the certificates. And for quiz certificate, registration is included, but it's always better you register for the conference because quiz is also part of the conference. You can register for the quiz as well and mention you have a lot of options. You can choose multiple activities which are part of conference. You can select at the same time, you can select presenter, participant, quiz, and menu. Whichever you are interested, you can select it, whether you are sure of not, so that there is no need of filling the forms again for each activity. So whichever activity you are willing, you can select them and you can later on fill it. Or if you have not selected earlier, you can also use the same form to fill it again and select one or more additional options as required. So this is with respect to the formalities. So hope all the instructions are clear to all the participants. That's why we are mentioning valedictory, especially inaugural and valedictory are both important, where we give instructions. Every day we'll not be giving all the instructions in detail. So you can visit the website to get all the details. But we'll mention in brief about this every day so that new persons who are joining can get the details in brief, not in detail. So the registration link is visible on the website and also has been shared in chat box, and it is also available on the website. So you can visit the website and fill the Google registration. And now the registration form in Zoom platform is active. We request everyone to quickly fill the registration form every day and also fill the feedback form every day in Zoom platform. After the conference is over, you need to fill the overall feedback form in Google form after the conference. So with this, you will be eligible for the e-certificates. So this all has to be completed before the conference or within 24 hours of completion of conference. For presenters, there is an additional step that is involved. Once you have registered for the presentation, you need to share your details. For those what details need to be shared, you can visit the presentation guidelines link is available in the chat box as well as on the screen. You can visit the website and check presentation guidelines. There is a format where you need to share your PPT, your photograph, and all the details. Generally, flyer is issued, but now due to paucity of time, we are not issuing flyers, but it will be part of the proceedings. So later on, when we publish the proceedings, it will contain a flyer for every event along with your photo and details, which you will be sharing now. So that's why don't skip this important step, because tomorrow at the time of publishing, we all are putting so much efforts and we all want to be part of this once in a lifetime and a flagship event, which is a unique event that is happening in India and across the world. The largest event, commemorative event that is happening. Everyone wants to be part of it, right? So to be part of it, we need to be officially part of it. So only through registration, participation and presentation and providing feedback will be part of the system, part of the database. So this is the only way we can be part of it. So we request everyone, especially all, to complete the formalities. Don't think this is an additional burden or this is an optional. It gives you eligibility to be part of the proceedings, because proceedings will take time. And at that time, you may be aware or you may forget what you have done, all these things. So once you fill all these details, it will be there in the record so that you need not take some more efforts to do it. So don't think that these are unnecessary or not required, that it will create lots of issues later on regarding certificates and verification and so on. So don't think that this is an extra effort or a lengthy effort. It is all part of the process, and you will appreciate later on when things roll out. So with this, I invite, on behalf of entire organizing team, we invite you all to the international conference, which is going to be held for 1 week. That is almost 10 days. And we invite you to share this information with all your friends, colleagues, students, scholars, and faculties, practitioners, and spread this message and utilize this wonderful opportunity to make your presentations and be part of this wonderful 1 week seminar, 1 week conference. So let's move on to today's commemorations. Every day we'll start with commemorations. After commemorations, we'll move on to the presentations by the presenter. Commemorations are also presentations which commemorate and celebrate various international, national, and regional and local events which are very significant. So with this instructions, we are moving towards today's commemorations. Hope all the instructions are clear. And if you have any queries, do visit the website. Website has all the details and it is still being updated though, but majority of the information is there. You can visit the website and find the details. And all the sessions are recorded and live streamed on YouTube. So YouTube link has been already shared in the chat box. and also will be updated on the website. And you can subscribe to our channel automatically. Whenever a session is live stream, you'll get a notification so that you can save the link or you can share the link with your friends. So let's use this wonderful opportunity once again, and let's proceed with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Global Day of Parents every year on 1st June. Appreciating all parents throughout the world. It's a wonderful day for all the parents. Since the 1980s, the important role of the family has increasingly come to an attention of the international community. The General Assembly adopted a number of resolutions and proclaimed the International Year of Family and the International Day of Families, emphasizing the critical role of parents in the rearing of children. The Global Day of Parents recognizes that the family has the primary responsibility for the nurturing and protection of children for the full and harmonious development of their personality. Children should grow up in a family environment and in an atmosphere of happiness, love, and understanding. Designed by the General Assembly and designated by the General Assembly in 2012, Global Day of Parents provides an opportunity to appreciate all the parents for their selfless commitment to children and their lifelong sacrifice towards nurturing the relationship. Families, parents, and caregivers play a significant central role in child well-being and development. They offer identity, love, care, provision, and protection to children and adolescents, as well as economic security and stability. In keeping with the spirit of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, family and parenting support is increasingly recognized as an important part of national social policies and social investment packages aimed at reducing poverty, decreasing inequality, and promoting the positive parental and child well-being. So this year, the theme for the Global Day of Parents is the promise of playful parenting. Throughout June, United Nations Children Fund, which is an expert advice and support for parents, encompassing broad range of topics from scientific foundations of play to engaging activities for the entire family, in recognition of the increasing prevalence of online play. They will also provide parents with comprehensive guides and detailed explanations to ensure their children online experiences are both safe and positive. So let's take this wonderful opportunity to designate, to make presentations on child development, child rearing practices, parenting styles in this entire week. Today is just first day. We have a whole lot of time in the coming days for the entire week till next Sunday. Not tomorrow, next Sunday. So you can utilize time, don't wait for the last day. Prepare presentations in a scientific way and come with genuine facts from authentic sources, and also quote the sources, the references, and make presentations. So learn how to boost your baby's brain. through various activities. Now we can watch a video from a Harvard professor, Dr. Jack Shonkoff, professor of child health and development at Harvard University, share his important play tips to boost your child's brain. In the first 1,000 days of life, the baby's brain forms 1,000 new connections every second. Just 50 minutes of play can spark thousands of brain connections. So we need to provide an environment that is stimulating so that they can form better, more and more brain connections. If the environment is not stimulating, it will reduce the number of connections. The more they think, the more they are curious, the more the environment is encouraging. Child proactively involves in various cognitive process. It will help in like finding new ways and paths in the exploration, problem solving, reaching out, and many more. So we'll see. Small video, then we'll move on to in detail. And if you have any queries related to these sessions, you can share in chat box. Try to avoid all irrelevant messages in the chat box which are not related to this event or session. Especially when a particular session is happening, kindly post related to that session. Any queries which are not related to this conference or this event or this session can be taken up at the end of the session after feedback form has been shared and after today's sessions or that day's sessions have been updated. That's why listening to the instructions, reading the instructions is very important to understand. Otherwise, we will always be in ambiguity. Once we are going through the instructions, we are aware, we are informed. If we don't go through the instruction, if we don't follow the instructions, we will be uninformed or ill-informed, so that we'll always have that ambiguity and lack of awareness, and we'll always be in that loop of lack of information, of uninformed or misinformed. So always it is important. Spend time. The same, if you spend 5 minutes going through the website, you will find all the details. So let's quickly watch a video and then we'll continue the sessions.
Jack Shonkoff. Did you know that the most important interaction you can have with your child is through play? Building your baby's brain sounds a little bit intimidating. So step back and take a deep breath. Parenting is much more of an art than it is a science. I'm Jack Shonkoff, and this is my mini parenting masterclass on building babies' brains through play. The early years are important in terms of brain development because the experiences that young children have and the relationships they have with the important people in their lives literally shape the development of their brain. And that early foundation affects all the learning and behavior and physical and mental health that follows through a lifetime. It's impossible to overestimate how important the early years are. The most important thing that any parent can do to support the development, and particularly the brain development of a young child, is to get to know that young child, get to be able to read that child's cues, get to be able to engage in what we call serve and return interaction. Serve and return is just like play. Another one, getting better. So this serve and return, you get better with practice. The reason why serve and return accurately describes what's important about the interaction is that it goes in both directions. A baby serves a smile, a coo, a babble, a gesture, and the parent or other adult caring for that child returns a response that is connecting to what the baby did. Baby makes a sound, you make the same sound back. The baby points to something, you look at that and you point to it yourself. That's the key. It goes both ways. The baby can start it, the parent can start it. The key is how you respond. Serve and return is not necessarily something that works the first time you try it, but the more you practice, it actually gets easier. For very young children, all important learning takes place within the context of play. Play is exploration. Play is trying things, trying to kind of figure out how when you do one thing, something else happens. Play is trying to develop a sense of mastery of the world. A lot of that is done by providing an environment that's safe and provides opportunities for learning. A lot of play, a lot of the interaction between parents and young children is in the serve and return category. I would start with making the idea of serve and return to be something that's easy and friendly and relaxing. Play can occur when you're feeding a child, when you're changing a child's clothing, when you're bathing a child. All of those are opportunities for playful interaction and learning between adults and children. To help parents understand that when you smile back, and then not just stop there, but then start playing, you're actually building brain circuits. In infancy with very young babies, it's all about interaction, kind of visual, sound. It's looking your baby in the eye, making that personal connection, being sensitive to your baby's feelings. Here are some things people may not think of as games, but they're games, they're play. Peekaboo, putting a cloth over your head. Where's baby? Oh, here he is. Patty cake. How big is baby? So big. The best kinds of games create a sense of emotional safety that allows growth. When you cover your face with a cloth and play peekaboo, a baby is learning. Why is the baby still laughing every single time you do this? It's because first it's the personal interaction. It's very rewarding. But second, the baby is mastering the concepts of things disappearing and coming back and knowing that they still exist. If a baby keeps wanting to do this, there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that the baby's brain is saying, I am mastering this. I am learning a lot from this. I am enjoying the learning experience. ask yourself, what does my baby enjoy doing? And then ask yourself, why do you think the baby enjoys doing that? And the answer always is because it is helping to build the baby's brain.
So we have seen even small interactions, day-to-day interactions can stimulate. That's why we always need to have a positive environment, stimulating environment, healthy environment, sustainable environment, productive environment, constructive environment, not only for children, but also for the adults to prosper, to bloom, to develop. Especially the early years, first 5 years of children are very crucial. That's why if the first 5 years children are not provided with ample of opportunities in a healthy, safe environment, the next 50 years and the entire life period, they will be struggling because they will not get the proper skills required, which has the highest potential in the first 5 years. That's why first 5 years is very important for the parents, especially mother plays an important role. But unfortunately today, the scenario is changing because of lack of joint families. There is lack of proper simulation. And people are leaving their babies as, especially with the working parents or single mother parents or single parent families where there is only father in case of separation, divorce, or death of spouse. We are seeing a lot of problems within the families itself because of nuclear families or children who are fostered by some caretakers. We are seeing that there are a lot of differences between those who are reared by their parents and reared by the caretakers. And it depends on the caretakers. Not every caretaker is good or bad. Not every parent is good or bad. It depends from case to case. So in a similar way, this provides an ample opportunity for all of us to rethink, especially when you are working. You need to take extra care that at least those who are planning for children ensure that you are giving ample time for your child. I recommend unnecessary, based on your financial, this thing. If unless and until you are in desperate dire need to go to employment, I always recommend personally, mother should dedicate the entire first 5 years of the child life to the child. So that makes child independent, healthy, and ample of opportunities. And you will never regret, because the child gets, until the child goes to school, the first 3 years, at least if you are not able to be there for the entire 3 years time, 5 years time, at least the first 3 years, the mother especially has to spend a lot of time every second, in providing ample opportunities every second to the child for development. Because why I'm saying mother, why not father? Women are better at many things. Man cannot replace women, and especially when it comes to motherhood or womanhood, no doubt they cannot be replaced by men. So that's why it's not about equality, it's about equity, it's about quality. Who can perform better? Who are the best in doing so? It is the best interest of the child, not best interest of the partner or parent. It is the best interest of the child to provide ample opportunities. If both have to work, then both have to devise certain strategies where both can take turns or times efficiently, effectively, so that the child gets the adequate opportunities in a safe environment. Maybe if both have to attend, then you need to find out time, especially where make certain arrangements where when father is not available, mother should be available. Or when mother is not available, father should be available. Or when father is not available, mother should be available. Because nowadays, most of the families are nuclear families and joint families are becoming rare. So you cannot depend on any other, because nowadays with lot of divorces coming up, we are seeing cases also where the next day people are going for the divorce. For the next week, next month, next year. We are seeing cases where just, we have seen cases where then very next day they came up for the divorce. Not even one day. Even the decorations for the wedding are still fresh, are still intact. And the very next day they came asking for a divorce. Or the next day they came saying that this marriage should be declared invalid, void. Or they themselves don't consider this as a valid marriage. Of course, there are various reasons for why it has happened and why it is happening. So, more of single parent families, either it may be father or mother, or sometimes the child is the one most affected by these diverse cases. We see in every diverse case, the first victim is the child or the children. They have to go a lot of pain, agony, fear, abuse, isolation, neglect in the abuse that is caused due to diverse. Of course, where the primary reason, prima facie, is harm to child, that is a different scenario altogether. But generally, the children become the first victim of the diverse cases. I'm not saying that when things are not working beyond our capacities and beyond all the efforts are put, then it's always better, sometimes when it is the decision of staying together or not staying together, the merits and demerits have to be scientifically analyzed based on the realities and prevailing situations. Then appropriate decision, informed decision has to be taken, whether to stay together or be apart and lead their own lives. Sometimes a short break also can solve a lot of problems and save the relationship. Often we see in some cases, it is the lack of personal space, personal time that is creating a lot of issues. So for some time, take a break. Go to a holiday or go to your parents' home, or just take up something that is interesting or that will take away from the situation. If you think the situation is getting worse or beyond or going out of control, just go for a holiday or a spiritual trip or for a training course, some course training, which is temporary in nature, just that provides a personal space where children does not become victims, at least in the long run. Maybe the temporary discomfort will be there, but in the long run, they will have their parents together. So we need to find out strategies, because today we are commemorating global Day of Parents. It's not just about being parent, but also a lot of parental issues. And being a parent, there are also a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, a lot of benefits. So we need to address various issues, challenges that are coming up, that is probity or that is challenging to be a good parent, to be a fostering parent. And there are various other challenges. First thing is occupation. Second thing is conflicts between the spouses. Third is conflict within the families or conflict with children, conflict with extended family or conflict with the neighborhood. There are so many conflicts. Sometimes there is an intrapersonal conflict. That is a conflict within himself or herself. A conflict within the parent. That is intrapersonal conflict. An interpersonal conflict is where they have conflict with others. They have disharmony with others. They have disconnect with others. That can be solved with the support of other person. But intrapersonal conflicts, which is within ourselves, has to be solved by ourselves with the help of others, if required. So most of the cases, it is lack of adjustment, lack of understanding, lack of harmony that creates these kind of issues, challenges, that break up families apart, that leads to divorce, that lead to separation, or even if you are not taking divorce, that leads to separation, temporarily or permanent. And that creates a lot of issues for the child, as well as an additional burden on the family, especially the parent who is taking care of the child. And the child is also suffering because of this conflict, where the child is kept away from the other parent. But both parents are like both eyes for the child, and he will be like 50% handicapped because of he will be missing, or she will be missing the other 50%, the other half of what is being experienced by being together with both parents. So it will be very hard on the part of the parent to take care of both the roles and fulfilling both the roles and needs. So we will talk about it later. And now we'll look into different other aspects. So these are different aspects you can focus on in your presentations in coming days, where you can focus on different parenting styles, adjustment, coping strategies, defense mechanisms, and so on. So when we look at the background of this Global Day of Parents, during the 1980s, the United Nations began focusing attention on the issues related to the family. In 1983, based on the recommendations of the Economic and Social Council, the Commission for Social Development, in its resolution on the role of the family in development process, 1982, and 1983 by 23, requested the Secretary General to enhance the awareness among decision makers and the public of the problems and needs of the family, as well as of the effective ways of meeting those needs. In the resolution 44 by 82 of 9 December 1989, the General Assembly proclaimed 1994 as the International Year of the Family. And in resolution 47 by 237 of 1993, the General Assembly decided that 15th May of every year to be observed as the International Day of Families. In 2012, the General Assembly proclaimed 1st June as the Global Day of Parents, to be observed annually in honor of parents throughout the world. So this day is a great significance for the parenting and parents. And there is also a need for support for parenting. Like no one else, parents and caregivers shape the experiences that build their children's brains and set them on the path towards healthy development. Parenting is too big a job for parents and caregivers to do it alone. So they need support to give their children the best possible start in life. And families and parents are key in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Families remain the center of social life, ensuring the well-being of their members, educating, socializing children and youth, and caring for the young and old. In particular, family-oriented policies can contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals relating to doing away with poverty, end hunger, ensuring healthy lives, and promoting of well-being for all ages, ensuring educational opportunities throughout the lifespan, and achieving gender equality. We also have different commemorations like International Women's Day, International Day of Play, International Day of Older Persons, International Day of Family Remittances, International Widows Day, World's Children's Day, International Children's Day. Today is also commemorated as International Children's Day. We'll look at it. And International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, International Migration Day, which are all related to family, as we are talking about parents and families. So these are all various international commemorations and celebrations that focuses on various issues along with this. So how do you support parents or support for parenting or supporting caregivers is the most precious task of all, especially raising the children. Parents and caregivers are the chief architects of early childhood development. Like no one else, they shape the experiences that build their children's brains and set them on a path towards healthy development. That's why the first 3 years and first 5 years of the child plays crucial development. And if parents, they do not spend quality time with the children, then you are directly and indirectly are the cause for the child's underdevelopment. Or you are responsible for the child not reaching his or her potential. So it is very important that, yes, sacrifices has to be made, at least for a few years. Why we struggle so much in our life? So that our children are having a better life. But if we don't give proper time to them when it is very essential, when it is very much required, it creates a lot of issues. And that's why today, many children, many parents are having trust issues, bond issues, relationship issues with the children. And children nowadays are not so committed or so emotionally attached to the parents, because the moment they start walking, they are sent to schools, play schools, creches, and play sections, and so on. So there is a disconnect between the parents and the children. And also children, not all environments are safe, promoting. And initially, child believes this environment as safe, at the same time has the benefit of doubt that the world is not safe. So there are two perspectives. The first perspective is world is safe, and the second is world is not safe place for a child. So the child has always this dilemma until he attains the autonomy of decision making, at least till 6 years to a considerate level. Of course, there are people now, even at 80 years also, they are not able to make decision, because they did not have that kind of environment where at appropriate age and time, they have been not exposed to such opportunities where they are still unable to decide what is good for them, what is not good for them. So now, see, there are very few, unfortunately, there are very few play schools or creches who are really putting their heart and soul for the children. And most of them are commercial. I mean, they do it as a job, not as a passion, because it is a business for them. And they would like to, as a business, they would like to maximize the profits from it. It is not a charity they are doing, as it is a business, unfortunately. And they also say it is a business. We are not doing charity. We are doing business. And we also ensure that we exploit or we maximize the profits wherever we can. In various terms, like every square foot they occupy, they pay rent for every square feet, right? So every square feet they try to exploit, they try to maximize by accommodating more children. Generally, there are guidelines that you should have 9 square feet dedicated to a child. There are certain guidelines that say 6 square feet, minimum of 6 square feet to 9 square feet. If you are running a crèche or a place, you should have minimum for each child, you should have 6 to 9 square feet space. But many are flouting those rules. Of course, it varies from place to place, location to location, and so on. Because it's not always possible because of various factors. But child will lose his personal space. Why? You might be wondering why 3 to 9 square feet. Because that is a basic requirement of an individual to move himself or herself freely. Just imagine you are 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, or 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet, generally 6 to 7 feet. And when you are sleeping, you are spending some time. You need to stretch your limbs, hands, legs. You need to move around. You cannot sit whole day at one place unless and until you are doing some job sitting and working on computer or doing some work on a bench work that demands you to sit at one place and work for the whole day. Children are not like that. Children need to explore. They need to run. They need a lot of metabolic activities as well. So they need space. They like to walk around, jump around, run around, explore their environment. That's why, and they need an environment that makes them feel safe. So this is the minimum space required so that they can stay away from other child or another adult, where the child can feel safe, the child can move around without any restriction. That's why this kind of rules or regulations have been put. But in reality, when you see, of course, still there are lack of such regulations. These are more of guidelines, not strict rules and regulations. These are recommendations by various pediatricians, child development professionals, and World Health Organization, and various other bodies for the health and well-being of the children. So that is, in many places, even if it is a rule, they are not being implemented and they are flouted. It's not that everyone is doing that, but majority of it, because it is a business and they want to exploit. They are barely utilizing 2 square feet, 3 square feet, 4 square feet per child. Imagine how safe the child will feel The child will feel that the environment is so crowded, so restrictive, so constructive that they cannot freely move around. And what child will imagine? Say you are put in a 2 square feet, 3 square feet, and there is a boundary wall that is constructed. There is a partition that created and told, be here. This is only your space and you cannot go beyond that. Then imagine what you will feel. And because those are the formative years, very crucial years, the child will carry those experiences for the entire life. They will not remember. That's why it's very important. The first 5 years, whatever they are experiencing, they are learning, they will never forget in their life. Even the abuse that happens, atrocities that happens, that will be subconsciously, unconsciously. They will be deeply buried. They will be trying to come up, surface, and that creates a lot of issues. So that's why it is very important. When you are sending, you also need to ensure that there are adequate facilities, infrastructure, when you are sending to play schools or schools. Sending too much crowded places to a children will hinder the child's development. You cannot manage too many people. And even the teachers are also, the ideal child and teacher ratio is 5, 4 to 7. Beyond that, even teacher also cannot manage. Anything nowadays we have, especially in some schools, there are 60, 90, 120 children in one class. That is different. But in these formative years, even that is also not recommended. But things are happening. That's why there is a lot of practical this thing. But a child who is under 5 years of age, and that too, that formative years, if child is facing such issues, trauma, that will be carried lifelong. And you cannot blame anyone. Parents have to take the entire responsibility. They have to blame themselves for not providing an appropriate environment. And none other than parents can provide such a safe, protective environment for the child, because it is their child. That's why they try to give their best, even compromising themselves, their own needs and wants. But others, when we are giving it for caregivers, not every caregiver is like that. But in general, what I'm telling is, they cannot replace the parents. They cannot replace the mother. So they have their own duties. They have their own things to do. Even they are playing a role of caretaker. They are also engaged in their own enjoyment, entertainment, or activities, whether it may be household, part of duty or not. So as a parent, it's the responsibility lies in you to select such a fostering, productive, conducive caregiver or an environment. It may be school, play school, creche, or wherever it is. It gives you as much as opportunities as you can. Of course, that is not possible practically also, unless and until you have an exceptional place where you have wonderful souls present taking care of children. At least to the level that they are safe for sight. So if that is not possible, then definitely you are jeopardizing your child's development, overall development. that will affect the child for his or her entire lifetime. So parenting, whether it's taken on by mother or a father or a grandparent or a sibling or any other relative or any other adult, like caregivers, is the job of providing nurturing care throughout the childhood, preparing child to live in the society, form relationships, learn, work, and thrive. In early childhood, parenting offers the opportunity to set a foundation for lifelong success. In early childhood, parenting offers the opportunity to set a foundation for a lifelong success. That's why the first 5 years, at least one parent should be with the child for the entire 5 years, providing infinite opportunities for the child. You sacrifice that 5 years if you are planning for a child, and you will have wonderful child with you for the entire lifetime. And it is also important that you don't be in physical presence. You also needs to be involved. See, it doesn't mean that, okay, those who are not working, they are anyway with the child. But don't keep watching, don't stick to your mobile, or don't keep watching TV around the day. And, you are going to set a wrong environment again to the child. You need to give maximum time to your child. Now, you also get ample time for yourself, because child also sleeps a lot. That is the time where you have ample time to do work, to enjoy, to watch, TV or movies, whatever you want. Child also needs rest, sleep. So that is where you get ample time. So parents and caregivers are interested with nourishing, growing bodies as well as developing brains. It is a multifaceted, time-sensitive and ever-evolving job in which each element, from proper feeding and health checkups to signing, singing, and playing, from cuddling to creating stable routines to protecting children from harm, is indispensable for babies and young children to not just survive, but reach their fullest potential and thrive. That is why these first 5 years are very crucial for the child physical development and cognitive development, emotional development, socialization, forming personalities, overcoming their fears, understanding the world more pragmatical. There is a good power in the simplest acts of parenting, which we have seen in the video. No, you need not do complex tasks, small acts with consciousness. Knowing the purpose of the act will help a child a lot, especially the unstructured, playful and loving moments that caregivers, including parents are generally natural caregivers, share with their babies and young children. Whatever a family's circumstances, growing up freely loved ones make a critical difference for the young children, protecting them from the effects of stress and disadvantage. Of course, we do have, not everyone is fortunate. So we do have our own challenges, but that should not be reflected on our child, because the child's development gets jeopardized. And that will have impact on the child development, holistic development. So providing nurturing care takes time. You need to spend time, quality time, resources and services. But these essential ingredients are in short supply for many parents and caregivers around the world. Why? As they are contended with poverty. Because of poverty, they need to take up work, they need to take up earning. So they are not able to give time, resources, and services to their children. Deprivation. The child is deprived, and conflict with the spouse and others. We have been talking about conflict, even the intrapersonal conflict. That is, conflict within the parents, within themselves, also creates a lot of issues and other crises, and which also includes lack of access to quality services or stretched thin as a result of poor mental health, stress, or struggle to balance family life and work responsibilities. No matter what happens, we should not transfer that onto our child. Even if it is transferred knowingly or unknowingly, wantedly, unwantedly, we should ensure that it has the minimum impact effect on the child. And even the transfer should be productive, not counterproductive, that makes child to understand and be more independent, so that you can manage things easily. It should help the child to understand the situation, but it should not put the child into much more stress or struggle. The COVID-19 pandemic, meanwhile, has thrust parents and caregivers into the role of frontline responders. School shutdowns and overstretched services have piled on additional responsibilities, from teaching at home to managing healthcare needs to balancing work with additional hours of childcare while taking away critical support. We have seen how equally, or in majority cases, or we have mixed results of people becoming more closer, developing a wonderful relationships, and at the same time we have seen lot of abuse, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, a lot of conflicts that occurred within the families, within the spouses in the pandemic. Those who could utilize it productively, constructively, positively, they have created a wonderful life within the family, and they have created cherishable moments for the life. And there are people who have created a hell out of those situations, those times. And we have seen an extraordinary cases or exceptional cases where spouse also killed the other spouse, or the spouse has taken divorce or applied for divorce. The spouse had constant abuse, either abused or being abused, or both sometimes. And abuse includes all: verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and violence, and so on. Because of lack of space and 24/7 surveillance within the closed doors, and not able to go anywhere, left out with no options or minimal options, people could dive deep into the personalities, into their unexplored areas which have created better understanding, or it fostered conflicts and inferiorities and various issues. So both ways we have seen mixed results. One contributed, one deteriorated, and other some mixed, where there is a kind of adjustment or a sacrifice because of the family or the children, or for the career, or for the future. Parents and caregivers from most vulnerable communities and those living in humanitarian contexts are also bearing the greatest burdens, while many more are left feeling overwhelmed and alone, especially in conflict zones. People and rehabilitation centers, rescue centers, they have different challenges. Parenting is too big a job for parents and caregivers to do alone. So they need support to give their children the best possible start in life. So everyone needs to support. Everyone, in the sense, in the nuclear family, both the spouses and the extended family, family members, neighborhood. Now, UNICEF strives to be a trusted partner for parents and caregivers everywhere to support them in their most precious task of all, raising their children. Strengthening integrated services at an institutional or organizational level for early childhood development, ECD, is one key part of this support. They work with governments, business, civil society, academia, and partners to promote parents and caregivers access to ECD services and to help strengthen the service providers that support them. These evidence-based interventions assist caregivers in two important ways: by equipping them with the skills to provide nurturing care, by bolstering their own mental health and emotional well-being. When caregivers receive the support and skills to cope up with stress and manage their mental health, they are better able to take care of their children. UNICEF also has a lot of parenting resources. We are talking about international level. There are various resources available within our family community where we need to explore and leverage the benefits. So online and at an international level, UNICEF parenting resources and ECD programs seek to empower caregivers to give their children the best start in life, providing knowledge of what babies and young children need and how to provide it. We work around the world to raise awareness, empower parents and communities, build demand for ECD services, and amplify the voices of parents. Our parenting programs elevate the particular needs of children with disabilities because intervention during early childhood is key to identifying, preventing, and managing disabilities. And because children's gender identity takes shape in early childhood, while gender-based unequal norms can already begin to constrain their life trajectories, we incorporate positive gender socialization and norms that provide gender equality right from the start, so that parents and caregivers can meet their children's needs while making a living. So UNICEF works with governments, businesses, and civil society to strengthen enabling environments for ECD, including family-friendly policies. These include paid parental leave for both mothers and fathers, support for breastfeeding, affordable, accessible, high-quality children, child benefits and adequate wages, Evidence shows that such policies contribute to thriving children. So that the parents and caregivers can meet their children's need while making a living in UNICEF works with governments, business, and civil society to strengthen enabling environments for ECD, including through family-friendly policies. So these include paid parental leave. Now it is 90 days. That also there are efforts that are put to increase it to 120 days and 180 days. Paid parental leave, and also both for mothers as well as fathers, and support for breastfeeding at least for 2 years and more, affordable, accessible, high quality childcare, child benefits and adequate wages. Evidence shows that such policies contribute to thriving so that parents especially have to be trained, have to be provided with ample opportunities so that they can in turn provide children with ample support and opportunities. Evidence shows that such policies, especially work policy or maternity leave policy, post pregnancy, and all these effects the contributions to the thriving children and happier families, as well as the gender equality, workforce productivity, and sustainable economic growth. This will also reduce the gender inequality and quality time to be spent for the children by both parents. Because at least if one parent is taking care of other aspects of managing family, the other parent can focus on the child, so that the child gets 24/7 attention by both the parents or any one of the parents, while the other parent is also managing the household, family. So supporting parents is in all ways, not only just by the spouses, but also by the community, by the families. It's also very important. There are various strategies. If we keep on going, we can talk so much. There is an endless, which have been acquired naturally being in family, joint families, where we had a lot of children to be taken care of. And we are also a child being taken care of our grandmothers, parents, aunts, uncles. So we learned so much in the environment, how to behave with the people, when, where, how to react, how to act, how to handle the situations, how to be with different personalities, how to deal with different personalities, how to deal with conflicts. When there are more people, there are a lot more opportunities for exploring. Sometimes The children create a lot of conflicts also within the families. They are very smart. They try to manipulate situations. They try to manipulate people because they are so cute. And they try to create a lot of naughty things. But it also provides the child an opportunity to see and explore how well they can manipulate the people around him or her, the society, and how it is impacting the child as well as the other members of the family or community. So these are various things that child keeps learning. And having different people in our family, like extended family and family members, relatives, child has a lot of opportunities to see how one is going beyond or how far one is extending their support. They know the differences between relationships. They know the scope. They know the kind of support they get and what to expect, what not to expect from different members of the society as well as family, within the family. So by being in a nuclear family or a single parent family, the child loses all these opportunities. And especially when you go to a school or a play school or a crèche, you are not biologically related. And unless and until you are very fortunate to get a very good peer group, every child wants to be more opportunities to get more benefits, always attention seeking, and try to keep others' attention and try to engage himself or herself. So, within the limited resources, when children are exploring, not every child will get an opportunity to equally develop. That will jeopardize the children who are not able to proactively seek for the opportunities, and they also can be bullied by other children or other caretakers even at home or even more vulnerable at places like schools or play schools, crèche, daycare centers, where if there is no proper proactive socialization that takes place, so that will create a lot of impact on the child. So in most of the cases, especially when things are dynamically changing, there are a lot of challenges in terms of inflation. There are a lot of priorities that keeps changing over a period of time, especially for parents. And especially single parent or nuclear parents, challenges are more. And especially with working parents in nuclear family with both parents working and working overtime, doing 2-3 jobs to meet their financial implications, creates much more stress within the family. So all these aspects are there, which we'll be looking at in coming days or in coming presentations. So building better babies and babies through play. The early years are important because they are experiencing young children have and relationships they have with the important people in their lives literally shape the development of their brain. And the early foundation affects all the learning and behavior and physical and mental health that follows through a lifeline. It's impossible to overestimate how important the early years are. The most important thing that any parent can do to support the development and particularly in brain development of a young child is to get to know that young child, gets to be able to read the child's cues, get to be able to engage in what we call serve and return interaction. Serve and return is just like a play. I'm getting better. So this serve and return, you get better with practice. The reason why serve and return accurately describes what's important about the interaction is what it goes in both directions. A baby serves a smile, a coo, a babble, a gesture, and the parent and other adult caring for that child returns a response that is connecting to what the baby did. Baby makes a sound, you make the same sound back. A baby points to something, you look at that and point at yourself. That's the key. It goes both ways. The baby can start it, the parent can start it. The key is how you respond. Serve and return is not necessarily something that works the first time you try it. But the more you practice, it actually gets easier and better. For very young children, all important learnings takes place within the context of play. So play is exploration. Play is trying things. Play is trying to kind of figure out when you do one thing, something else happens. Cause and effect. Play is trying to develop a sense of mastery of the world. A lot of that is done by providing an environment that is safe and provides opportunities for learning. A lot of play, a lot of interaction between the parents and young children is in the serve and return category. Some play is solitary by the child himself or herself. Serving and return is easy, friendly, and relaxed. Play can occur when you are feeding a child, when you are changing the child's clothes, when you are bathing a child. All of those and many more opportunities for playing interaction and learning between adults and children. Playing is everything. That is where your child is engaged. To help parents understand that when you smile back and then not just stop there, but then start playing, you are actually building the brain circuits. You need to extend further. In infancy, with very young babies, it's all about interaction, the kind of visual, sound, looking your babies in the eye, making that personal connection, being sensitive to your baby's feelings. There are some things people may not think about as games or play, but they are actually play or games. They are a play. Like peekaboo, hide and seek, putting a cloth over your head. Where's the baby? Or here he is. The best games build a sense of emotional safety that allows the growth. When you cover your face with a cloth and play peekaboo, babies are learning. And especially these games also deal with separation anxiety. While the baby is still laughing every single time you do this, first it's a personal interaction. It's very rewarding. But second, the baby is mastering the concept of things disappearing and coming back and knowing that they still exist. If a baby keeps wanting to do, there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is the baby's brain saying, I'm mastering this. I'm learning a lot from this. I'm enjoying the learning experience. So ask yourself, what does my baby enjoy doing? And then ask yourself, why do you think the baby enjoys doing that? And the answer always is because it's helping to build the baby's brain. So again, nowadays, what people are doing, mistakes and blunders, is giving mobile to the children. Because of that, they are not engaging in play. They are exposed. With the mobiles, parents are trying to keep themselves free from their children, but it is creating a huge impact on child, physically, psychologically, emotionally, socially. People think, especially the children, are in their own fantastic, fantasy world. They don't really understand what is reality, real world, and what is fantasy world. Like even adults also dream, like which they cannot really get in reality. They keep dreaming. So people also think they don't really understand at that age what is real world and what is fantasy world. If they see horse having feathers and they are flying, as we see in some cartoons, or most of the times there is an interesting study also where we see cartoons especially hitting each other, and no matter how many times they hit each other, kill each other, they come alive. One such incident happened that there are many incidences that happen in the same way. A brother, an elder brother, killed his younger brother, thinking that he would also come alive as it was happening in the cartoon. But that is not reality. In cartoons and games, you can die as many times as the game permits, and you can come alive as many times as possible, as game permits or as the cartoon portrays. But in reality, it's not so. And he was not able to consciously understand that he is killing his own brother. He is just thinking that in the cartoon, and later on when the investigation happened and it revealed that, both the brothers were watching all these cartoons and all these things, and they thought, they can also kill each other, hurt each other, and nothing will happen. So similarly, that elder brother has killed his younger brother, thinking that it's okay, fine, anyway, he's going to come back. Again, he is not going to die. There is no death at all. And he killed him brutally. Like, cartoons we see, like Tom and Jerry or any other cartoon, or even many cartoons, they keep always fighting with each other, picking up something, hitting blue and black. You see different things, and children don't know anything. You are giving mobiles to them, you are putting them on cartoons. And there is one more interesting study also. There are many studies. Each cartoon character is a personality. We had done some research also for the presentation, and even you can Google it also. You'll find every cartoon has a personality. It has a lot of disorders. And there are some studies also came up. There are some people who started analyzing each cartoon and its personality. Many, to our surprise, we see that almost all the cartoon characters have the negative shapes, have disorders that in reality are projecting onto each other. So children also becoming like that. And especially these serials, soaps, especially, when they watch serials, now unfortunately, we have very rare soaps or serials or movies that project good kind of relationships. Otherwise, the serials which we know nowadays, who are watching, they know already what kind of content, what kind of relationships they are promoting there. And children, when the children are exposed to them in early development years, they think the world is like that and it's okay. See, by seeing such cartoons, especially violent cartoons, they think it's okay to hit others. It's okay to hit someone to death. It's okay because it is being projected. It is happening there. And children still not able to distinguish between a fantasy world and real world. They think that it's okay. It's okay to abuse. It's okay to bully. Because you see a lot of characters bullying each other, hitting each other. And there are very few cartoons. And this doesn't happen that you have only cartoons that are always good. All characters are good. Because it's a mix of all types of characters. And we don't know, like even adults also, we are inspired by special cartoon, especially youth, are more attracted towards smoking, drinking. And the entire movie, it portrays smoking, drinking, having illegal and, all kind of illegal, immoral sexual relationships, premarital sex, dating, mating, whatnot. And at the end, in the last 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, finally the main character realizes and says, I have done a blunder in my life and kindly don't do it. People will forget that 5 minutes and follow the entire 2.5 hours movie. So like that, even children also are picking up. There are a lot of studies, researchers that are happening. So don't give mobiles to children. Even if you are giving them, don't give it for a longer time. And even if you are giving them, make sure the content is downloaded by you, checked, and are recommended by the professionals, like psychologists, developmental professionals, which is appropriate to age and which fosters positive development to the child. And that should be very restricted. It doesn't mean that you put all the content on mobile and put child 24/7 on that. No, that is not good. Daily 1 hour, not more than 1 hour, not continuously. At that age, a strict no, but still, you need to be very short span, maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, not more than that. And you can give multiple times or avoid mobile in the very first place. Actually, exploring mobile and settings options is also one kind of play, but that should not become an addiction. That should not become a routine for the child. That is more important. When you observe that child is getting used beyond what is required, or being addicted, then it is a time to slowly, naturally withdraw that object from child, or try to restrict or engage the child into more activities that he or she spends time with many activities, so that the child gets more opportunity to explore and develop connections. So with this, we shall end this commemoration. We can talk hours together, but due to time constraints, it is also very important that we restrict ourselves. And I don't see any presentation request from anyone, so I will continue with rest of the commemorations for the day. So today is also commemorated as International Children's Day, as mentioned in the United States and different parts of the world, which is celebrated annually on June 1st. World's Children's Day is different. International Children's Day is different. Don't get confused with both. Both are celebrated on different dates. Today is International Children's Day, exclusively celebrated in US and some parts of the world. As an initiative for the children's well-being and rights, today as we are commemorating Global Day of Parents, it is also relevant commemoration and celebration. This day is celebrated as part of greater cause that revolves around ending child abuse, ending the deprivation of children of their rights, and making efforts to improve the lives of children all around the world. Not to be confused with Universal Children's Day, which is celebrated in November. In November, we have Universal Children's Day. And World's Children's Day is different. National Children's Day is different for every nation or most of the nation. So be clear with different dates and days. So International Children's Day is almost identical to its counterpart, the only difference being that is celebrated in June. The more merry. So almost all Children's Day focuses on child's development, child's empowerment, and focuses on child's activities. Different days takes place in different months or different days. That is the major difference. And along with that, and are celebrated, commemorated in different places, one or more places. So it is a day to honor children worldwide, celebrated as part of 1925 proclamation in Geneva at the World Conference on Child Welfare. The day is observed on different dates in different parts of the world. Some countries celebrate it in June, some in November, but the aim of the day has always been same. Since the Industrial Revolution and the world wars that followed, it was observed that children have been severely abused, oppressed, and deprived of basic human rights. Being weak and timid, they could easily be forced into oppression and unjust, unethical, and immoral activities. They were exploited and manipulated. Millions of them are found to be malnourished. All these discoveries were highlighted during the Geneva Conference, so that world leaders decided to protect children worldwide. In the developed countries of the time, immediate action was taken to improve the conditions for children, while in the developing countries, funds were made and donations were given to donor agencies for the social development of people and children. In these places, various campaigns were organized and social calls were made for volunteers to arrive help in the development. Among these activities, the main areas which were given the utmost importance were child education, nourishment, anti-human trafficking activities, as well as stopping child labor, and all these initiatives combined and a day dedicated to spreading awareness on child protection and children's rights were warranted. And so, International Children's Day has been celebrated and sponsored globally. You might be wondering why there is no single day for children. Different countries adopted the Geneva Resolution and the declarations at the UN differently. So because of the differences in styles of adoption, dates of adoption, there are different dates when Children's Day is celebrated. And also commemorating different persons' milestones like birthdays, anniversaries, even certain Children's Day. In India, Children's Day is celebrated on the birthday of Jawaharlal Nehru. That is November 14th. So similarly, different countries might be having different dates commemorating different events. So in India, it is November 14th. It is a National Children's Day. And we also commemorate World's Children's Day, Universal Children's Day, and some also commemorate International Children's Day. In most of the countries, especially like Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, as well as the former or current communist states, all celebrate June 1st as the Children's Day. So these countries, they celebrate June 1st as Children's Day. So many organizations are working for the betterment of children worldwide and are looking for volunteers. Such volunteerism is a great valued and appreciated and will certainly make you feel proud. Donations work for general public, but a dedicated sponsorship for a child can be a great option. This will ensure fully sustained growth of the child for life. Estimates tell us around 140 million children are born annually. Alarmingly, 5 children die every day due to child abuse. 1 child in every 10 is involved in child labor because of poor economic conditions. 155 million children worldwide are victims of stunted growth because of malnutrition. Among the indexes of all continents, Africa has the worst index in terms of child development and vulnerability. Children are our future. Children are seeds for our future. The better the nourishment, the healthier the plants. The more we invest in them, the greater our future will be. These initiatives taken today are a guarantee that we are going in the right direction, and our continued efforts will improve the lives of our children. It reminds us that every child in this world deserves the best life. As we are commemorating different play activities, today we are also commemorating International Tabletop Day. Gamers unite for this International Tabletop Day, which lands on June 1st every year. Tabletop games have been played for years and they have evolved over centuries. Battleship chess, for example, started on paper even before emergence of paper. And it included, especially in battleship, which was started on paper and in original included land areas and water. As the time went on, it entered the third dimension as a vertical toy and then went on became one of the first computer games. The oldest tabletop game that has virtually remained the same was a game remarkably similar to backgammon. It was called Ludo's Duodecimum Scriptorum. The game 12 markings, and it was played during the Roman Empire, which, like modern version, the object is to bear all of your checkers. The main difference was that there was 3 dice instead of 2. When we see a lot of games like Vaikuntapali, the snake and ladder game, which is ancient game in India, which is worldwide played in different forms and shapes. It's also one of the tabletop or game, or even you can play it in different ways. Today is also commemorated as World Milk Day. From a cool glass of milk, we are commemorating parenting, and milk is also an essential part of the parenting. And without milk, of course, there is no development. Because even before we start taking water or food, the first thing the baby gets is milk from his or her mother. So milk is very important, essential food, especially breast milk. So today, we are also commemorating an international or important, significant day, that is World Milk Day. Though it is not exclusively dedicated for breast milk, but it is also an important day, which also contributes to the health and development of child, even after breastfeeding and lifelong. From a cool glass of milk, hot butter being spread seemingly across toast, or a heaping bowl of ice cream. World Milk Day celebrates not just milk, but all the related byproducts of milk. This day was organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization at the United Nations to celebrate the dairy industry and recognize milk as a globally important food. World Milk Day seeks to start a conversation of how nutritious, affordable, and accessible milk is around the globe, not to mention delicious, healthy. Though the humans began to drink milk when animals were domesticated in Neolithic age around 9000 to 7000 BC, lactose tolerance was lost in adults for all of humanity's history before this age. Until a later genetic mutation allowed us to drink milk, early humans mostly ate fermented dairy products, which were more easily digestible. Well, that's why even milk is not given directly without adding water to make it more digestible, easily digestible because of the contents of the milk. For those who are having this issue, which is lactose tolerance. So milk became important in many cultures, both for spiritual as well as logical reasons. For ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Sumerians, milk was a key element in mythology. Some people in Western Africa believed the universe started with a single drop of milk. Mongolians traveled with dried horse milk that would be reconstituted and provide nourishment on long journeys. As much as milk was worshipped, it was also ridiculed. While early Japanese Buddhists mocked those who consumed butter, Northern Europeans were thought disgusting for consuming reindeer milk. In Rome, milk was thought to be a low-class beverage, only to be consumed by farmers who had no other choice. The history of milk had a new milestone with industrialization. While most countries and cultures adopted milk, many places just weren't close enough to farms with milk to enjoy it. When railways suddenly, urban demand for milk in places like London and Paris skyrocketed, rural imports transferred milk into a big time market. Throughout the 1800s, there was much innovation around the milk, from breweries opening dairies to feed their spent grains to cows, to vaccines being invented by watching how milkmaids avoided smallpox. Milk was clearly had a huge impact on our society, but the demand and production of it have shifted dramatically in recent years. In 2016, the milk was overproduced in several countries, and many, including China, put an stop to any milk imports. In recent years, many dairies have filed for bankruptcy as trends are shifting towards alternative non-dairy milk. Due to COVID-19, dairy farmers have been dumping millions of gallons of milk per day. Who knows what will happen to dairy next? But in post-COVID, things are changing. After mammals are domesticated in Neolithic times, humans begin to drink milk for sustenance. Mongolians packed dried horse milk into a paste that can be reconstituted with water for long journeys since 1300 AD. Humanity finds a way to improve on a nice cool glass of milk in the 1600s with the invention of ice cream in 1600s. Railways allow the transportation of milk from rural farming areas to cities in England, and milk becomes accessible since 1840s from rural to urban areas. Russia, China, Canada, and the EU, European Union, and more became self-sufficient with milk production and stopped importing milk since 2016. Globally, around 80 countries celebrated this World Milk Day in 2018. The theme for the World Milk Day in India in 2019 was milk, drink milk today and every day. So World Milk Day was initiated in 2001 by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, in short known as FAO. Enjoy a glass of milk, the most simple, classic, and refreshing way to participate in World Milk Day. Since we are appreciating the food anyway, let's get back to basics. Pour out a creamy glass of milk and enjoy the day. Daily, a cow will produce over 6 gallons of milk, which also varies based on different factors. Holy cow, every day, a cow can produce around 6.3 gallons of milk. This adds up to 350,000 glasses of milk in a lifetime. In a typical year, the average American will drink 25 gallons of milk per year. To keep milk fresh for just a little longer, a great trick is to add a little salt. The ratio is 1 pinch of salt per quart of milk. There is no shortage of dairy. Yearly, around 1,000 new dairy products are added to the market. Yearly, around 1,000 new dairy products are added to the market and no shortage of dairy. The milkman first came around in 1942 as part of milk conservation measure during World War II. Home delivery of milk began in 1942 in the West. Milk nourishes people globally. While not every country and culture drinks milk, the vast majority enjoy dairy and many have made it a key element of their cuisine. Some of the countries where milk is most popular include Finland, Netherlands, and Sweden, while milk is not widespread beverage in North Korea or Liberia. Who doesn't love the first sip of chilly glass of milk or a hot milk? Milk has been transformed into a plethora of our most well-loved foods for a reason. Dairy is delicious. Milk is very nutritious. Milk that is 2% or less is chock full of nutrients. We know that your mom has always said milk helps you grow, your bones grow, but milk actually carries many more benefits than it is. It's packed with calcium, vitamin D, and potassium, which are routinely under-consumed nutrients. Today is also commemorated as World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day, which is a global event that takes place annually on June 1st, intending to raise awareness about the effects and signs of narcissistic abuse. Often the patterns and the impacts of narcissistic abuse are not as clear-cut due to its intangible nature, lack of research. Thus, the day is dedicated to providing education, support, and resources for survivors. So, World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day was initiated in 2016 by the psychotherapist Bree Bonke as a campaign to highlight and educate the people on the effects of narcissistic abuse and how signs can be spotted. The indicators of a mentally abusive relationship are not always clear. While physical abuse leaves them to tail marks such as bruises, cuts, and scars, emotional abuse is difficult to pinpoint due to its mainly verbal and mental nature. However, it can have a larger, longer impact on victims that affect them throughout the rest of their lives. The word narcissistic itself is a commonly used to describe anyone full of themselves, but its meaning goes deeper than that. Narcissism itself is a destructive, damaging pattern of behavior that can leave severe mental impacts on others. Victims of narcissistic abuse may experience things such as gaslighting, isolation, and neglect, and may be insulted regularly by a partner, friend, family member, or even strangers. Some more impressionable victims might not realize that the abuse is happening, as they might internalize. Sometimes abusers do do so because they suffer from actual personality disorders, namely narcissistic personality disorder, short known as NPD, or antisocial personality disorder, short known as ASPD, and many others, but they don't necessarily have to be. They may exhibit signs of antisocial behavior and inability to show sympathy or empathy to others, and an incredibly self-important nature that makes them actively restrict self-reflection, treatment, and change. The causes of developing these traits can range from cultural factors of the state of upbringing. Unfortunately, the effects of narcissistic abuse are relatively understudied and statistics can be hard to come by. This makes putting an end to the narcissistic abuse a challenge, but it is still possible to do so, bringing awareness and educating. So the effects of narcissistic abuse span a variety of mental issues such as heightened anxiety, loss of self-worth, depression, cognitive problems such as misery, memory loss or difficulty focusing, trust issues, self-harm, and over the development of post-traumatic stress disorder. These problems can severely damage the victim in the long run and might also affect those around them. Typical signs of narcissistic abuse include the overexertion of dominance, manipulation, intimidation, emotional coercion, humiliation, pathological lying, extreme jealousy, excessive guilt, tripping, gaslighting, financial abuse, isolating the victim, lacking empathy for others, having unrealistic expectations. There are also laws that help prohibit narcissistic abuse. While there aren't any specific laws forbidding emotional abuse, it is a legal course of action in courts and is a valid basis for litigation. If you know someone who is exhibiting telltale signs of emotional abuse, it helps to be there for them to help them get through the situation. Listen to what they have to say and direct them to help. They need a little bit of empathy. It will go along. So the scope of World Narcissistic Abuse Day, founder Bree Bronke states that up to 158 million people in the United States are currently affected by narcissistic abuse. The general statistic, the diagnostic statistical manual of mental disorders says that the prevalence of general population suffering from an anti-social personality disorder is estimated to be at least 3.3%. Neurological studies show that narcissistic brains tend to exhibit signs of abnormality in their insular cortex, while in the region of brain known to generate empathy. Narcissus poeticus is the scientific name sake of the daffodil. According to the experts, the most accurate depictors of narcissistic personalities in pop culture, including the Lannister family from Game of Thrones, Jake Gatsby from The Great Gatsby, and the Army Tuning from Gone Bird. See, as I mentioned, every character has its own personal disorders and personality. Even we can see narcissistics in pop culture everywhere. So that's why, especially children, it's not a good idea to just, leave them on their mobiles. And especially where, that's why we had this Panchatantra, Chandamama tales, where it was giving, even for small children also, it was teaching morals, the right conduct. But now with all these, rhymes, which doesn't have any significance. They say Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Who is Humpty? Who is Dumpty? They are not even relevant names to us. And many such which are irrelevant to our culture. We are directly importing them and they are teaching. They do not find a relevance also. They are just because they need to pass. They are mugging up and they are vomiting in the exams. But see, look at the Chandamama tales. Look at the Panchatantra. You get a lot of morals, lot of values, lot of ethics. Even at that age, child can easily understand and he will follow for the entire life. By removing all those native tales, you are making child lack of these values and ethics, moral education. Value education is lost because the present education doesn't have any values, morals, ethics in it. And they are just imported from Western and they don't even find a relevance also. So we need to overcome. The more literates are unfortunately the victims of this. They get carried away thinking that, but there should be also a purpose. It should not be solely for the purpose of getting merits or getting certificates. At the end of the day, no matter how many degrees, doctorates you have, at the end of the day, you need to survive. You need to be a proper human being, a good human being with humanity. Otherwise, whatever you have acquired is worthless, is worth in a trash. Today is also commemorated as World Reef Awareness Day, which is related to environment and oceans. It helps to create awareness among various business communities and the general public about the fragile biological system of our oceans, coral reefs. This day unites people belonging to different backgrounds, including environmentalists and social activists, to come up with various ideas and techniques to protect the ecosystems of our reefs from deteriorating. The oldest corals appeared about 500 million years ago or even earlier. Researchers suggest that they began as plain solitary organisms and with time and constant environmental changes transformed into beautiful coral reefs that exist today. During an ice age, around 440 million years ago, sea temperatures dropped at an exponential rate, and a large number of corals began diminishing from the ocean. This is called the Ordovician Silurian extinction event, around 410 million years ago. In the Devonian period, corals began to appear again. During the end of this period, stony corals started growing, which were a rare form of reef back then. Then around 350 million years ago, corals disappeared again due to unstable sea levels. 100 million years later, corals appeared once again, only to be wiped out once more. by Permian Triassic extinction 250 million years ago, where over 90% of sea creatures were affected. Reduced oxygen levels and increased carbon dioxide in the sea caused its tragic extinction event. After disappearing and reappearing of another few million years, coral reefs finally reappeared 46 million years ago and disappeared for the last time during the mid-Eocene era. 20 million years later, they finally made a comeback in the form of Great Barrier Reef in Australia, which was found by British explorer Captain James Cook in 1770. Lately, some of the most beneficial reefs have been diminishing because of coral bleaching, rising ocean temperatures, and toxic pollution. Moreover, the use of harmful sunscreens and increased tourism are also increased threats to the well-being of the coral reefs. Coral reefs are slowly diminishing due to harmful activities like coral mining, overfishing, and warm temperatures that lead to coral bleaching. Over 25% of the sea life that rely upon coral reefs may lose their habitat. Coral reefs are a source of food and shelter for the individual survival. Over 25% of the sea life that rely upon coral reefs may lose their habitat. Coral reefs are a source of food and shelter for survival of such marine species. Australia's Great Barrier Reef has lost more than half of its corals since 1995 due to coral bleaching. One of the main reasons behind the coral bleaching is the Great Barrier Reef is rising ocean temperatures and excessive UV radiation. Today, we are also commemorating International Clothesline Week. It's a week-long celebration initially created to enlighten people about more sustainable living. Do you know that Hills Clothesline, the famous clothesline produce company in Australia, was started by former worldwide II soldier Lancelot Leonard Hills? He wouldn't have thought of inventing the rotary hoist clothesline that would be globally sought after if his wife hadn't complained about falling off a prop washing line. This proves that challenges bring forth opportunities. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations as it's already 9 o'clock. So we thank all the participants for being part on this day. Those who want to make presentations can use this opportunity every day from 6 to 9 to make their presentations and participation. So we request everyone, those who have attended today, kindly request you to fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of votes. So if you have any queries or questions on today's sessions, feel free to share in chat box. If further discussion is required, you can unmute. So thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Different commemorations on the second day of International Conference. Before leaving, quickly fill up the feedback form. Thank you. Take care. Good night.